You want some bad news, Michael?
No.
What are you asking me?
You're the guru of the gray matter. I figured if anybody had it, you'd have the answer.
I can't give you any direction.
I think I'm going to have to change this channel. I'm sorry.
You're completely wrong.
I refuse to be wrong on 2 calls in a row.
Tell me I'm spot on or tell me I'm crazy as I'll get out.
I have no idea.
I have a 6-month-old, so we'll be raising him according to Dr. Ray.
Talk about being a winner.
So, you want my question?
You ain't making any sense.
You're absolutely right. I just needed confirmation.
So what are you going to do about it, Dawn?
I'm calling you.
Now, from the studios of Living Bread Radio Network in Canton, Ohio, the hometown of Mother Angelica, here's Dr. Ray.
Steve, that's your voice, and you lied.
I did?
Where are we?
We are in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, just
That's a lot of water out there.
just south of the Gulf of America. That's what we're calling it now, right?
The
Gulf of America is what
Yeah.
it's being called for the rest of this decade?
Until somebody else gets in and changes it.
Does somebody change it again in
Yeah.
28 or 32?
When I was in the 6th grade, our teacher always said, well, we're going to teach you geography, but it changes every 4 years, so we don't know what country is going to be called 4 years from now.
You want to talk about a 4th grade education, just as a little sidelight.
Easy.
I wasn't talking
I don't
about
like
you.
I don't like you
you
imputing my
are getting
education.
defensive. You are getting defensive for no reason.
I'm not defensive. I refuse to be defensive. Hey, they got it. Look at it. They
Yeah,
got
that's right.
it.
They keep talking about being defensive. Anyway, 4th grade class, we'd have social studies once a week, and it was the first time that we had something other than homeroom. All right, so another teacher would come in to help prepare us for in 5th grade where we start moving around a little bit more. So, gradually settle in. The teacher asked the same question every time when she walked in the room. Where's north on the map? And we, as children, there's 30 of us, we always went up, up. She eventually just shake her head. It's towards the top. That's where north is on the map, towards the top. She'd come in a week later, ask the same question. Up, up, up.
Is it all boys' class?
You would think.
The girls would say, it's where I said it is. People are all wrong. Oh, I went to a tough school. I'll tell you, my school was so tough. We had English class. I asked, what comes after a sentence? She said, you make an appeal. This is a tough school.
Tough school.
Oh, yeah, I'll tell you.
Oh, my God.
First,
tough
I'll
school.
tell you, tough school.
Tough school. I tell you, my wife, when she came in and saw me at my tough school, she did something. But I can't make up things on the fly like that.
I can do it.
Here you go.
I asked the principal, I said, how long to walk to a bus stop? He says, I don't know, kid. Nobody's ever made it. You're listening to The Doctor Is In after that persiflage and badinage and misdirected diatribe. I'm Dr. Ray Guarendi. The program here is The Doctor Is In. And as my co-host, Steve Clark, has said, we are not in Canton, Ohio. We are on the Good News Cruise here. In the middle of all I see is water. Nothing but water. I don't know why. Maybe it's my age. I just feel like I have to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
It just happens, this kind of stuff,
Every other hour?
Somebody said to me here on the cruise, they said, well, how'd you sleep last night? And I said, I guess I did okay. And they said, we were up at 4 a.m. And I said, I was too, but then I went back to bed.
Right. Exactly. I'm going to do one better. I woke up at 4 a.m. and then that was it. Because you get to a certain age out there, you're nodding, shaking your head. If you wake up in the middle of the night, that's it.
Oh, I can get a full 8 hours sleep, but it'll take me like 4 days.
Okay.
But I can get a full 8 hours sleep.
Congratulations on that.
Hey, you don't have a whiteboard.
I will get that out.
Okay. Here's what we're going to do. The program here is The Doctor Is In. The number to call in, those of you at home not in the water on solid land, the number is 877-573-7825. You will talk to Eric Dumont, my call screamer, and Andrew Kruchek is producer man. We have a number of lines, so if you'd like to call in, question about stuff in your life, kids, families, jobs, stress, whatever, you call it, from conception to eternity. That's our range. It's a pretty broad range. Question about someone else, something else, situation, circumstance, rock, paper, scissors, whatever it is. Give us a buzz, and sometimes people call in and offer their own suggestions about previous callers. which is kind of their subtle way of saying, Dr. Ray, I don't think you really handled that all that well. Let me step in, and I don't even have my own show, and I think I can answer it better than you do. So, 877-573-7825. If you've been on a previous show at any time, going all the way back to the creation of the world, you can call in. You will be first up. Now, we've also got a live audience here, and I think what happened was more people than I expected, but the buffet closed. They closed during this hour, I think, is what happened.
Really?
So a lot of these people just came in for the hour to digest their food, and then they're going to head back. You know?
The food is good here, isn't it?
It's very, very good. I decided before this cruise that I was going to lose 10 pounds. So I've only got 16 more to go. You know? 877-573-7825. I'll tell you this. We'll get to this one right away quick where Father Mike Schmitz is disagreeing with me, poor guy. Hate to tell him he's wrong.
You do that in public?
That said, well, I didn't go to him for confession. Oh, if I'd have gone to him for confession, I'd probably walked to the Holy Land on broken glass on your knees. Yeah, after doing this to him. All right. When I was little, my sister, who was 2 years younger than me, I thought was not a better arguer than I am. I pride myself on my linguistic strength. And one of the things that frustrates me, very much so, people say, you get frustrated. Yes. People who really try to act smart and they use big words they don't know the meaning of so they can sound more photosynthesis. So my sister would argue with me. I'd come home from school. Marianne, where's that cake that Mom made for us? I think it's in the refrigerator. Okay. Marianne, there was 2 pieces in here and they're both gone. Did you eat them? Maybe. Marianne, Mom said that one of those was for me and you ate my piece. So? I was waiting for that all day at school. I was looking forward to that. So? So now I don't have any at all to eat. So? I'm telling Mom. So? That was my sister's main comeback was so. And I thought, would this not be a great comeback for Christians? Not in a snotty way. Not in a throw back in your face sort of way. Christians need to be more so. Did you hear what my mother said to me the other day? So? I can't believe she talked like that. So? When you get upset, you've forgotten the word so. Well, I don't do that to them. I don't expect them to do that to me. So? We need to be more so. Or if you want to be a little more eloquent, so what? Spread it out. Don't be so easily offended. Christians should be the hardest people to offend. People will say this to me. I can't believe what she said. That was so disrespectful. So? I'm not going to be a doormat. Well, have you spoken to her about it? Oh, yeah, many times. What's happened? Oh, she just denies it. Just gets worse. All right, so what are you going to do next time she says it? I don't know. Why don't you just think, so? You got one concern when somebody says something about you. Is it true? That's your only concern. You don't worry about they never should have said that. I'm not like that. I don't deserve that. I don't do that to them. So? Steve, I don't know if it's because I'm old or what.
Yes.
But sorry. So? Somebody comes up to me and says, you know, I listen to you on the radio and I don't like you and I think you stink. And I told my wife, I said, I don't want to hear that. Don't tell me that anymore. My attitude is, and I don't know if it's because I'm get off my lawn, my attitude is, so? What am I going to do about it? And I think so is also a way of stripping pride. Because, see, pride says, I don't deserve to be talked to like that. I was disrespected. That hurt me. That offended me. How is it offending you? Well, they said something that was nasty or mean-spirited or wrong. Okay. Try to stop them. Well, I've said something. How'd it go for you? Remember, when somebody's mean and you try to correct them, they're not going to go, well, thank you. You know, I'm glad you pointed that out to me, because I didn't realize I came across that way. And I do need to take a good, clear look at myself because of the way I treat people, the way I act.
You're right.
Thank you. So, you got to be a so Christian. You really do. You got to have more so what. And I'm not saying you don't take anything serious. I'm saying that the insults and offenses that come at you do not have the power to distress you. Don't you hate when you swallow your own saliva? Not have the power to distress you for 3 hours or 3 days. I can't believe it. My mother-in-law's coming. She's coming tonight. Oh, man. She said, I tell you, it's going to be 8 minutes before she says something. Before she says something that just bothers me. Well, if you could snap your finger and have a so attitude, she wouldn't bother you. Well, how many remarks has she made like that? I can't count. Give me a number. It's got to be 200. So are you still bothered by 201 as much as you were by 54 or by 6? Yes. Why? Because they accumulate. Why? Because I want her to stop. Why? Because she doesn't see how she affects me. Why? So, you got to be more of a so Christian. You really do. So, Steve, oh man, we're getting more.
Look at that. And somebody actually wants to compliment you.
What you said
That should go right to the top, don't you think?
Oh, okay. So, well, we had a compliment line on the radio program. We did, but it got
a special number.
It got no. Basically, AT&T told us we have to take it off because it's had no traffic for like 4 years.
Oh.
And they said if you don't get any traffic on a compliment
Lack
line.
of use.
Yeah. Now we had the insult line. We had to add 2 more of those. 2 more of those.
Maybe that was the problem. The happy line was originally dialed as 1-800-INSULT.
Was it?
That could be a problem.
We had the potty training was line number 1 and line number 2. Yeah, that's potty training line. Hey, my sign is feces.
Oh, gosh.
My friends call me number 2. I'm losing it here.
Yes.
I'm out. See, there's a certain sense of invulnerability when you're out in the middle of the ocean and people can't get to you. So I just start saying stuff now that I would never say on the air. And my folks at EWTN are thinking, we got to take him off the air. We got to pull the plug. We got to kick him off the air. And my answer, so. Let's take a break. 877-573-7825. We're going to get to your questions. And then this one here where me and Father Mike disagreed.
Ooh.
He had a lot of gall.
Did he?
Countering me like that. Yeah.
Was it unmitigated?
Yeah, whatever that means. I'm Dr. Ray. Thank you.
Looking for a retreat venue for your youth group, sports team, ministry, or staff event? St. Francis Retreat Center in DeWitt sits on a picturesque 95-acre property, complete with 3 large conference rooms, 2 chapels, 2 dining rooms with commercial kitchens, meeting spaces for smaller groups, overnight lodging, and a professional staff to make your event a success. Call 517-669-8321 or visit stfrancis.ws to book your event today.
According to the world's workers, our workdays are not going well. In a study, Gallup found 60% of people are emotionally detached at work and 19% are miserable. It's been the subject of many, including pop culture. Comedian George Carlin once quipped, "Oh, you hate your job? Why don't you say so? There's a support group for that. It's called Everybody, and they meet at the bar." Now, Carlin's joke works because it's true, but workplace misery isn't funny. In one of the largest studies of burnout, Gallup found that the biggest source was unfair treatment at work, unmanageable workloads, unclear communication from managers, lack of manager support, and unreasonable time pressure. The one common thread? The boss. Gallup can predict 70% of variance in a team's engagement just by getting to know the boss. Now, how to become a good boss? Lead like Jesus. Find out how you can serve your team instead of bossing them around. This has been a Christ Center communication message. I'm Vanessa Denhagarmo, a communications evangelist and host of Epiphany.
This program is brought to you by the following nonprofit underwriter.
Are you longing to hear God's voice? Lord, Teach Me to Pray, the free Ignatian prayer series will open your heart to His voice, to the peace you are seeking, and the only love that fulfills the human heart, Jesus. God is calling you to true joy, knowing Jesus personally. Lord, Teach Me to Pray is free. Go to LordTeachMeToPray.com, click on the red box, order the Lord, Teach Me to Pray series now. Go to LordTeachMeToPray.com.
It is a major privilege to get to do this show. I've done it for 20-some years. You know, when I was in the secular media, I always wanted my own talk show. Specifically, I wanted one on TV. I used to be Oprah's go-to guy before she went to Phil. And I thought, well, it's not going to happen. There's no way that everything that was a possibility fell through. And one day I was just thinking, and I said, I'm going to approach EWTN. I'm going to give them an idea for a show, see what they think. And fortunately for me, they took it, and I get to do this. I get to talk about the faith as it intersects with life. You do a secular show, they would put guidelines on you right away quick on what you're allowed to talk about, and the stuff they would siphon your way you wouldn't want any part of. So all those years that went by, and I thought, well, I guess it's not going to happen. God doesn't want me to have a talk show, radio, or TV. Not going to happen. And He gave me this chance to be with folks like yourself and all of my 64 listening audience people. Now, Max from Texas. Now, we deal with manly names, and Max is a manly name.
Maximilian?
Yeah. Well, I was going to name my kid. He really wasn't Maximilian. I called him Max 100 because he wasn't really, into a million yet.
You have to grow into it.
I did a monologue on why do people in church nail their feet to the end pew. Nobody gives up that end pew. If you come to the edge of the pew and you want to move in, they don't slide down. They move their legs so you can get by, or they get up and let you in. And I got all kinds of people mad when I did this opening monologue on the end pew because I can't see. I can't see from where it is. I have to go to the bathroom. Sometimes I have to go to the bathroom. Everybody was justifying it. And I remember for several weeks after that, I watched all the end pews at church. I know I should have probably paid attention to the prayers. I watched all the end pews, and there wasn't a single person that got up in those end pews to go to the bathroom. And what it is you know what I think part of it is? Pardon me for being a shrink. People are uncomfortable with too many folks too close. You go down in the middle, you got people on this side of you, you got people on that side of you. It's kind of like, no, I just don't feel like I'm loose enough here. I got to get down here to this end. I think that's part of it. And the other part I talked about is everybody has their reserved seats, and God help the person who comes once a year at Christmas and is sitting in your seat. Do they not know that's your seat? Well, Max here wants to comment on that.
Okay.
Hey, Max, how are you, sir?
Hi, Dr. Ray. Oh, my gosh. This is actually my fourth time calling you, and each time I've talked to you, I get so nervous because I'm talking to a superstar.
Well,
like
I'm
Dr.
nervous too,
Phil,
Max.
Way,
I'm nervous
way
too.
Better.
I get nervous. Hey, Max, you got to get out
way
more,
less
man.
Depressing than Dr. Phil.
How are you, sir? Now, how did that help you out with that opening monologue on the end pew?
So, let me set the scene for you. I was sitting in one of those small to medium pews in the back of the church, and I was sitting on the very right side. The rest of the pew was empty. And then, a few minutes before the beginning of Mass, this other person comes in and sits on the left side. It was this insanely gorgeous woman. And so I thought, oh, that'd be nice if I could sit next to her, but that'd be weird to just slide down with no purpose. So then, at my side of the pew, there comes this older man, his wife, and their kid. And Dr. Ray, in that moment, that teaching of yours became crystal
You gave up
clear.
your pew. You are you're such a charitable man.
Just and extremely humble, much like yourself.
Much, yeah.
So I gave up my seat to that man and his family. I slid down the
Did you
pew
marry
and
that
sat
girl?
right next to this pretty girl.
Did you end up marrying her?
No, she friend zoned me later in kind of a rude way, so I dodged a bullet. But
well, hey, it would have been worse. She would have gotten up from her seat and moved. That would have been a bad signal for you there, Max. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My wife does that. I go in, I try to sit by her. She gets up, she moves. Yeah. I call her. I call her for advice. People, I got a question here. What do you do as a psychologist for advice? So I call my wife, and every time I call, she has the same answer. How did you get this number? Thanks, Max. I appreciate it, bud. Take good care. See, guys call in with stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
The women don't.
They don't.
No. The women's not going to say, man, there was this really handsome guy sitting down there at the end of the pew, and these people came in, and I just went down and sat by him, you know. So, but by the way, Andrew, tell Stephanie she's got a great question here. I want to get to her, but I got to address Father Mike. Where's Father Mike? Where did I put him? That one?
No. I'm looking for it.
That one?
We saved it. We put it out front for you.
I thought we did.
We try not to put it in the back for you.
Yeah, I'll turn it that way. There it is. Okay.
Okay.
The approach to talking to an adult single daughter who left the church. Well, I hate to take questions like this because it just doesn't happen, you know. And is on the wrong path. Well, you know, they go together. It's kind of a dual thing. You're going to leave the church. Much of the time, you're going to head off on the wrong path. One of the things that I realized as a shrink is that the further people get from the way God says to do it, whether they realize it or not, the more problems they bring into their lives. Your advice, Dr. Ray, say nothing. Well, that's not exactly my advice, but I'll qualify it here. Father Mike's advice, husband, none, and father, me, most important man in her life. Now, here's where I think Father Mike is right. It's true. That's true. You're a husband. You're a father. You got a daughter drifting. You think you are the most important man in her life. But that doesn't mean you have to keep approaching this. You read the cues. If she doesn't want to hear it, if she's at that age where I'm running from the church and whatever you bring up about the church and any way you try to nudge me in that direction, I'm backing up, then you got to know when to shut your mouth. Now, that doesn't mean you can't be the most important man in her life. I got some single daughters. I got, as I said the other night, 5 estrogen Americans. I want to be the most important man in their life. But if they're going to drift from the church, and despite my best efforts, I'm not getting anywhere. As a matter of fact, I'm getting hostility in return. I got to know when to shut up. So yes, one hand, most important man in her life, maybe, if she allows you to be that. But here's the other problem you have. When you got somebody leaving the church, and they're running their life in a different direction than you were hoping it would go, it may be that they don't think you're the most important man in their life. And to be the most important man, you got to do the things passively. Pray. Have whatever connection she allows you to have. Keep in mind she's setting the terms. If you got a daughter that's going to roll her eyes every time you even smell like you're talking religion, you better just be quiet. But at the same time, there's going to be moments when she needs you. I get that. You know, one of my daughters might disappear for 6 weeks and all of a sudden, Daddy, this one headlight doesn't work. And I'm very helpful. I said, did you check your headlight fluid? 877-573-7825, number to call to get onto the program, 877-573-7825. And they're so good, you guys. Guys, it's Dr. Ray. I'm going to dispense with the opening intros. Okay, have them clap, Steve. All right, have them clap. Look only about 4 of them are clapping. Like, is it time to eat? Do we eat yet? We are in the Good News Cruise here in the middle of a lot of water. I can't see anything anywhere but water.
You look to your left, water.
Water.
Look behind you,
water. It's an amazing thing, and it's these folks they're all faith-filled, loving people
with sunburns.
Nice to have them here. I love those. I love those Retrovite things. Those things are so helpful. I've sent my wife to 9 of them. You know, I write the letter. You know, you're supposed to write the letter to your spouse. Uh-huh. I wrote her letter for her, and I handed it to her and just had her sign it for me. Real quick before I go to Stephanie, who's waiting patiently. My priest said that animals have a soul. Is he correct? Well, first of all, I'm not going to sit here and second guess a priest. But he is correct because we have a rational soul. Animals have what they call a sensate soul. In other words, it is a, if you want to call it a life force within them, that indeed there's been a lot of theological debate over what kind of souls animals have. Now, they don't have souls like ours, and that's where the debate comes from as well. Is there going to be animals in heaven? You know, a lot of people say no, a lot of people say yes. I say, I don't know. I have no idea. There will be no cats in heaven. That's a given. You can say any dumb thing you want to a dog, and he'll say, I believe you're right. I think that's great. You're a genius. You're wonderful. I can't wait for you to come home. You say something to a cat, they just look at you like, I only live here because you feed me. But get out of my face. Let's go to Stephanie real quick. Stephanie from Texas. Hi, Steph. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing well.
That a girl. What's up?
That's nice, Steph.
Stephanie, your turn.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So I have an adult daughter that's 19 years old that I don't know. I just don't know what to do anymore. She doesn't want to follow my rules. She doesn't want to do anything. So I don't know. Should I kick her out? I don't know. I just don't know what to do with her.
Well, Stephanie, I'm going to dispute you because I think you do know what to do. The question is, why aren't you doing it? Now, I can't tell you what to do with your daughter because it's your house. It's your family, and it's only you know the way you're being treated. So, given all that, most parents, when they have an uncooperative young adult living in their home, they're scared. Well, what would happen if I gave her a condition and said, you have 2 months to get your act together or you'll find someplace else to live? They're scared. Will she move in with a boyfriend? Will she crash and burn? Will she get in with the wrong crowd? Will she be on the streets? I couldn't live with myself if something bad happens. Is that where you are, Stephanie?
Yes.
I should be a psychologist. I really should, you know. What's going to happen, I think, and this is typically the trajectory, Stephanie. You put up with it. You hope something will change. You talk with her. You plead with her. You nag with her. Sometimes you threaten her. You say things like, you know, if you don't cooperate here, you're not going to live here anymore. You say things like that, but it's always open-ended. And at some point, it's a linear progression. You'll have had enough. You'll have said, I can't live like this anymore. I've done it for 4 years or 8 years, and I've seen some parents who's done it for 20 years. And at that point, you say, okay, I'm hurting you by allowing this. And Stephanie, that's usually the question I give to parents. Ask yourself, am I helping or hurting my young adult by allowing them to live like this as an adult in my home? One of my sons was 26 when he finally moved out. I'm an Italian, so I moved out of the house at 47. When he was in school, he was pleasant, he was cooperative, he was delightful. I couldn't have asked a nicer young man, so I said, Andrew, you can stay here as long as you want, get your degree, whatever, we like having you here. However, I had another son that I had to basically say, you got to go. You got to go. And he went. Now, we have a great relationship now, but at that time, there was no way he was going to be cooperative. Now, I decided that. Now, Stephanie, that's your decision to make, not mine, honey. And at some point, you'll have to do what you think is the rational thing, which is, I've got to set some conditions on this young lady who is either uncooperative or disrespectful or drifting or lazing around scrolling. So I didn't give you an answer, but I hope I gave you something to ponder for yourself as a parent. Thank you, Stephanie.
Yes.
Bless you, dear. Good luck.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, that's not a unique question. I think there's a lot of people
that's as big a question as you get.
Have a dilemma with this. And I feel for Stephanie because her daughter's 19. She's invested, the mom, Stephanie, invested these 19 years into her. And she feels probably, some people at least would, that if they cut the cord, it's over. And all the work that I did into that relationship is gone.
Well, here's the answer to what you say, Steve. Okay, let's say mom says, I don't want to cut the cord because I don't want to ruin the relationship. So she lets it go on to 24. You could almost predict by age 24 that relationship's going to be even uglier. They were going to have 5 more years of conflict. 5 more years of nagging, arguing, all of the things that go into a friction-filled relationship. And then finally at 24, she's going to cut the cord. And what's going to happen? The relationship is even uglier. And that's the difference. That's the difference. This is from Allen, Iowa. Who's funnier, you or Father Joe?
Me? No, he
no,
is.
It's there. Me. Who's funnier?
Oh,
you? Yeah, Father Joe. If you pay close attention, you'll see he steals a lot of my material. He does. He does a lot. There's a lot of it that he will steal. I used to entertain in restaurants, supper clubs, played the organ, nightclubs and things, and I'm going to try to catch the karaoke here, when I get a chance, because that was fun. And then that one woman sitting right there in the front row, she knocked the house dead because she did this song. I'm not going to take it anymore. Twisted Sister.
Oh, I'm not going to take it?
Nice Catholic group there. How much time we got for the break here, Steve?
1 minute and 10 seconds. So I would just say that if you want to ever compare between Dr. Ray and Father Joe Krupp, people at home listening on the radio should come to the Good News Cruise for 2027.
Father Joe Krupp is one of the quickest wits I have ever seen. Johnny Carson said this. Johnny Carson said, if you're going to be a successful comedian off the cuff, you have to have, and this is back when he was speaking, a major Rolodex in your head. That you have heard so many lines, so many jokes, that pretty much any situation you confront, you've got a line for it. As long as you also fill it in with some of your own creativity, but you got to have that big library of stuff up there. Thank you for joining me here on The Doctor Is In from the Good News Cruise. I'm not going to say stay right there because it doesn't work. People pull into the drugstore and go, oh, I needed to go in and get my prescriptions, but he said stay right there. Shoot. From Mary in Idaho, hello, Fourth Day Sister. Melanie, listening in Boise. You can't say Boise anymore. Did you see that? They were going to have some kind of movement. It was either federal or state. You can't. That's gender insensitive. It's person C. Can't say Boise anymore. That whole group there just isn't following me there. Did you see that? They sat them according to IQ, I think. Nice to have you with me here on The Doctor Is In, Monday through Friday, 1 o'clock Eastern Time here on the Good News Cruise. Okay, a couple of really good questions. This one, where is that? I lost it again. Oh, what do you do to get a break from psychology and treating others? Had a guy say something to me at the buffet there. I had a lot of guys say something to me at the buffet there because I was there pretty much for 12 hours. And he said, are you ever serious? Now, that's a fair question. Giancarlo Bernini, his dad was on the ship, the magician. His dad's on the ship. His dad was a pediatric oncologist. Yeah, right. Tough. Talk about a tough thing to compartmentalize. As a shrink, I call myself a 24-hour emergency room for the mind. Basically, people come to you with sorrows, sadness, major tragedies, hurts, pains, disruptions, friction, you name it. It's a tsunami of human hurt. And so, yeah, I want to counterbalance that by just having fun, by enjoying it and laughing and carry on. That's what I do. Now, all my life I've lifted weights. All my life I've exercised. I played softball for 50 years. I finally quit last year playing softball. Competitive league, not senior league. I quit because it took 2 singles to score me from third. I had one of those life alert things, you know?
Yes.
Then when I went into second and I tripped and fell down, I don't slide anymore, but I tripped and fell down, I pushed my life alert so my teammates would come and pick me up. But contentment really is a choice. I don't want to be cliche here, but it truly is. This was many, many years ago. I don't know what happened. I am not an unhappy guy virtually at all. And many, many years ago, my wife noticed I was getting kind of blue, just sort of blue. And she was very, very supportive, very, very kind. She said, "Ray, what the heck's wrong with you? Straighten up." And I remember exactly where I was. I was painting a fence by our driveway, and I said, "She's right. This is stupid. What am I doing?" And I deliberately said, I don't want to be like this. I don't want to feel like this. And so for me as a shrink, whether I go from my office, and a lot of people approach me informally, family members, all kinds of folks, with some situation. And when I'm not in those situations, yeah, I want to yuck it up. I want to have a good time. So
I've done that.
I do. You do.
I've been one of those guys.
What, you?
Yeah. Well, I'll ask you something serious every once in a while.
Yeah. And I'll just say, get lost. Yeah.
Still here.
Why is... Wait, this guy's a coward because he said, some husband.
He even look where he's from.
Yeah, he didn't even put his, he said, Western Hemisphere. Why is the sweet Filipino woman named Bliss, who makes omelets on the cruise, seemingly more happy than me in the morning than my wife? Why do some wake up happy and others not so much? 2 main factors there. One, of course, is the power of temperament. Some people are naturally wired upbeat. That's a gift God gave you. If you're content about it, you're happy with life. I said to my son one time, he's an engineer, I said, "Andrew, some people see the glass, the pessimists, they see the glass half empty. Optimists see the glass half full." He said, "Dad, I'm an engineer. I see the glass as twice as big as it needs to be." But there's a certain temperamental power in this. Some people are just more upbeat than others. But the other factor is huge. They did a survey, probably more than one, of countries. And they asked the folks, how content are you? The U.S. was toward the bottom. The underdeveloped countries were toward the top. Now, why is this? Look at where we are. Look at what we're doing. Look at what we have. We're in the top 5% of the world's wealthiest people. We have materialism like nobody ever dreamed. Your kitchen is far beyond anything kings ever had to eat. You're living to 70 and 80 years old when as recently as the turn of the 20th century, the life expectancy was 47. You know why we're discontent? Because we want this. And those of you at home can't see me, but I'm putting my hand above my head, and we're here. And so the gap between what we have and what we have been told we want, as it gets bigger, we get unhappier. And we've got relentless forces telling us, you should have that, you should do this, you should have this opportunity, this should be good, this is what you should have. Do you realize I paid $8 for a pound of chicken? Oh, I can't believe that, doggone it. And we do this. And those thoughts percolate. They're in your head, man. You may not be able to pull them up at any given moment, but they're there. You got a kid who's left the church. You don't think about it every time, but it's there. It nags. It's always nagging you. It's like, why am I not content? Oh, yeah, I forgot my daughter's 27 and she wants no part of me or my religion. I forgot about that for 12 seconds there. That's what you do. There's something that shrinks called negativity bias. What it says is we are naturally attracted to the negative. And that's wired into us because we have to defend against threats. We have a little part of our brain called the amygdala. The amygdala is the fear center in the brain. You see a big dog running at you, your amygdala kicks in. And right away quick, everything juices up to fight that dog or to run from that dog. That's what the amygdala does. So we are more attuned to threats than we are to positive things. I see a lollipop. I don't get scared. I just like that lollipop. And the same thing happens with emotional threats, with life threats like happenings. We're more inclined to dwell on those than we are to what's going right and good in our lives. I get up in the morning. I put my glasses on. I can see clearly. Most of human history, you had bad eyes, you're stuck. That's what you had, man. I went in there, I brushed my teeth. Well, if I have a cavity, I can get to the dentist within a day. Most people live much of their life with a cavity until that tooth was yanked or died. So I go to my medicine chest, I see these medications that keep me living, that keep me healthy. They didn't have that 150, 200 years ago. Have any of that stuff. What's the temperature in here? 70? Okay. So you go home, many of you are coming from up north. It's cold out there. So what? You're in a house, 70 degrees in your house. Oh, if it gets hot this summer, turn the air on. 70 degrees with the air. You don't even have to endure temperature fluctuations that you don't like anymore. But we don't think about any of that. What do? We turn our attention towards what isn't going right, rather than all this over here. I don't want to go on too long here, Steve. Boy, I better take a break or Andrew will nag me. I'm working on a book talking about this kind of stuff. And one of the chapters is gratitude. And gratitude is something you have to actively pursue because you will simply ignore the countless catalysts for gratitude in your life. My closet has more clothes, and I'm a guy. I got 2 pairs of underwear and 3 shorts. But my closet has more clothes in it than most people have had in the whole human history. And some of them I don't even wear. Why? Because some guy in Europe says, no, that's out of fashion anymore. You cannot wear that. It's the wrong color. Oh, okay. You can't wear that tie? It's a 1/4 inch too wide. Oh, okay. As an old man, I'm getting more of that stuff anymore. This is Dr. Ray. I'll be back.
Today's programming is brought to you in part by gift from our day sponsor, World Marriage Day. Celebrate and honor your marriage with a fabulous dinner, music and dancing, and 2 dynamic speakers on Sunday, February 22nd from 2:30 to 6:30 p.m. at Penna's of Sterling in Sterling Heights. Give this gift to each other, a joy-filled evening to enrich your marriage. Register now at worldmarriageday.org.
If you have a message you want to share, be a day sponsor at 877-288-1077.
The Heart of the Interior Life with Elizabeth Jingle.
St. Ignatius of Loyola introduces the 6th rule of his 14 rules for the discernment of spirits, calling to mind the directive of the 5th rule. In the fifth rule, St. Ignatius directs us not to change our spiritual decisions or proposals when we are in a time of spiritual desolation. The sixth rule states, although in desolation we should not change our first proposals, it is very advantageous to change ourselves intensely against the desolation itself. The call in the sixth rule is to change ourselves intensely against the spiritual desolation. We are not called to passively endure spiritual desolation, for God's call in the time of spiritual desolation is always to resist and fight against the desolation with strength, trust, and determination. How will you change yourself against the desolation?
For more information, visit AveMariaRadio.net.
Do you own popular index mutual funds or ETFs? If so, you're automatically own shares of companies that conflict with your moral beliefs. Ave Maria mutual funds are managed to conform to pro-life and pro-family values. Long-term investors can invest in the no-load Ave Maria mutual funds. The experienced professional portfolio managers make decisions based on investment fundamentals and pro-life values. You can learn more about Ave Maria mutual funds today at 866 Ave Maria or visit AveMariaFunds.com.
Last segment here on the Good News Cruise with delightful people. It's not doing too bad. Only about half of them left. Okay, last segment. Try to take a couple of these questions. Interestingly enough, now somebody asked me, I have, I think, 19 books. And somebody said, what's the secret? What is the secret to writing that many books? I go, it's real simple. Can't worry about them being very good. This is from Mary Beth. What is your favorite book that you wrote? And she put, not your wife's. Well, interesting with my wife, I wrote a marriage book. And my wife was reading it, and she's sitting there, and she looked at me. And she looked, and she said, you've been pulling this stuff on me. What's my favorite book? Interestingly enough, I wrote a book called Taught by 10, What a Psychologist's Father Learned from His 10 Children. I think it was the most funny book I've written. It's a lot of human interest stuff in there. And I thought, this for me is my favorite because it talks about the kids and it's funny. It's probably my poorest seller. You can't predict it. You cannot know. The one book that I wrote a book called Thinking Like Jesus, The Psychology of a Faithful Disciple, and Jesus, the Master Psychologist. Now, both of those are selling pretty well, and especially to an EWTN audience. But the book that outsold them almost by 50% was a book called Raising Upright Kids in an Upside-Down World. I never thought in a million years that book would be the top seller of my EWTN books. So it's hard to predict.
It is.
Very hard to predict.
Got to read your audience.
We got time for one more, Steve?
Yes, we do.
We got 3 minutes left here.
Yes, we do.
That's that. No repeats. That's that. Let's see this one here, Steve. This is the one that got scratched out.
Yes.
It has come to our attention that our grown children and their spouses sometimes talk negatively about each other. Well, I don't know how that's come to your attention unless you heard them do it or they told you they did it. Among themselves. That makes it even harder to know they're doing it.
That's right.
Okay. Is there anything we parents can do about this? I'm going to assume they're not telling you. I'm going to assume that they don't say why they don't like their sister or sister-in-law or whatever it is to you. If they do, you got the opening. Always ask questions. Why does that make you so mad when she does that? Does that mean you don't want to have anything to do with her? In other words, if you start saying, well, I'm sure she's not like that. No, I don't think she meant to do that. I mean, you can do that, but most people just go, no, I think she did mean to do that. If you say, well, why do you think she meant that, to be like that? Get them most little psychology trick. Most people do not have their thoughts coalesced. They think in fragments and bits and pieces. And when you force them to explain why they think the way they do, why they're looking at a situation the way they are, You make them explain it. I had a friend one time who was very anti-Catholic, and I was asking him all kinds of questions about why he was so upset at the church. What was it? So you think this is what the church teaches? Why does that upset you so much, etc.? He told me that on the way home, and he was digging his heels in, boy. He just flat out, I was getting nowhere. He told me later on the way home, he said to his wife, "Did I sound as dumb as I think I sounded?" Because he was forced to explain his positions. And in his mind, his positions were correct because he hadn't really thought them through. He just knew the Catholic Church was what it was, and that's the way it is. So partly what I would suggest on that. The other thing you could do, and I'm not sure how well this would work, when they're together, you could say, "Sheila, why don't you tell Tiffany why you hate her guts?" I don't know if that would really work all that good. From the Good News Cruise, delighted, and thank you so very much for your kind attention. All of you at home. And by the way, it's probably a bigger audience that I've had on listening on the radio. You know what I mean? Right here.
We'll never know.
Walk with God, or as I probably should say, swim with God. Swim with God.
For information on Dr. Ray's presentations, books, and CDs, visit drray.com and follow him on Facebook and Instagram. The Doctor is In is a co-production of Ave Maria Radio and EWTN Radio and carried across the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.